I'll lay out a little history first, which will lead right into the key facts as to why the Vatican and the Pope are more in control than anyone else concerning the building of the coming Third Jerusalem Temple. One fact of recent history is the huge Bible prophecy of Israel suddenly becoming a nation in 1948. Most nations of the world immediately began recognizing Israel as a bona fide, brand new nation, but one nation of the world refused to recognize Israel, namely the Vatican State. And yes, the Vatican is recognized internationally as an actual country and is self-labeled as a monarchy, with its own king being the Pope himself. So that's a key fact of history, that since Israel's 1948 rebirth, the popes have refused to honor and recognize Israel as a bona fide nation. One key reason for this is that the popes of Rome had confiscated and or made legal claims to own much of the land in Israel during the centuries before Israel's rebirth in 1948. These legal claims of the Pope occurred during the Ottoman Empire's reign, right up to World War I, in the early 1900s. So virtually, once Israel was reborn in 1948, then the Vatican's immediate attitude towards Israel was, hey, wait just a minute, that holy land you're suddenly living on there, including the Temple Mount, happens to legally be ours. And this is the exact attitude of every pope from 1948 and to this day. So those are clear and hard facts which are documented in depth with headline news and links at Heisnear.com in the section named Vatican Relations with Israel and in the section named Antichrist and Mideast Peace. Then in 1993, 45 years after Israel's rebirth, John Paul II authored the Fundamental Agreement, which is an actual contract he wrote to Israel for the express purpose of requiring Israel to give up the very land, including the Temple Mount, which the popes themselves still claim to this day to be the legal owners of. Now I could stop right here, having laid out these facts, and it's perfectly clear why the popes and Israel have had thorny negotiations since 1993 regarding who owns what in the Holy Land. Again, this is because the popes say we own that, and Israel also says legitimately that, well, but our people live here. Israel is our nation. Now to back up 8 years to 2005, then once Benedict XVI took office in April of 2005, then he was highly aggressive in taking the dormant Fundamental Agreement and immediately pushing it right into the face of Israel, even demanding the Vatican be given control of the Temple Mount, as headlines at Heisnear.com show. In fact, Benedict was highly successful in bringing the Vatican-Israel negotiations of the Fundamental Agreement quickly around third base and right up to home plate, which is precisely where the negotiations are today. And that makes the next Vatican-Israel meeting, which is already scheduled in the next days of this month of December, a prime world event to keep our eyes on. Why? Because Daniel's major end-time prophecy has now clearly jumped into play tangibly. Daniel 9:27 foretells that he, Antichrist, will make a firm covenant with the many, being the end-time Jews of Israel, allowing Israel to build their third temple. So the fact that Antichrist, the Pope, has already made and virtually authored this contract in 1993's Fundamental Agreement, coupled with the fact that the Vatican-Israel negotiations are right now nearing finalization, then all of this shows that both parties of Daniel 9:27's prophecy, being Antichrist, the Pope, and the end-time Jews of Israel, are zooming this generation towards the execution of a 7-year agreement allowing Israel to build their third temple. And at that point coming is when this generation will have entered into the final 7-year tribulation period.